Kevin Lee, it's lovely to see you here this morning. And you brought along a Frazer Nash BMW?
Frazer Nash BMW. This car was imported in 1936, and it's the car that was slowly replacing the chain gang Frazer Nashes during the 1930s. And this car is one of only 3, possibly 4 examples left of the saloons that they brought in, of which there were several hundred. We don't know the exact number. This car, 2-litre engine, which went on to become the Bristol engine.
Oh.
And 6-cylinder, very nice. This engine's set up fairly standard with its twin carburetors.
So did it come in as a BMW and then Frazer Nash built it?
They came in basically as a kit.
Okay.
They were largely put together in Germany, but then they were customised to the customer specifications in the UK by Frazer Nash.
Okay.
So from 1934 onwards, Frazer Nash started to import BMWs, but BMW couldn't sell them as BMWs in the UK because of the anti-Nazi sentiments.
Yeah.
So these cars were brought in and rebadged as Frazer Nashes, or Frazer Nash BMWs, or just as BMWs, depending on what the customer felt they wanted to be.
So what did BMW call this?
This is a 319.
319.
So this is the famous pre-war car is a 328.
Yeah.
And that's the same engine with just a different head on it and a slightly longer chassis, and a more sporty body. And
Yeah.
this 319 came either as a sports body, which is very pretty, or in this little sit-up and beg saloon.
Not as a 4-door.
No.
Okay.
So 2-door sporting bodies were
Yeah.
what most customers wanted.
Yeah.
But a lot of other customers quite liked the idea of having a quite sporty Frazer Nash, but with the comfort of a saloon.
Yeah.
So, and this was the first one that they brought in. And then they slowly improved them and they got bigger and nice and whatever.
Okay.
But this is the flying brick, and we love it, and it goes really well.
How long have you had it?
About 5 or 6 years now.
Right. And you've just competed in the 3 castles.
Yes.
How did you get on?
Oh, not too bad actually. Not too bad. We've competed in a number of sort of post-war rallies, but we've kept the car original, so we can compete with VSEC and pre-war stuff.
Right.
But if we're competing with the post-war hero type rallies, then we put the Michelin X tyres on to allow us to keep up with the MGBs.
Yeah.
In terms of road holding.
Okay. Why are we seeing those protrusions on the roof? Is it for a roof rack originally?
This car has been continuously competed certainly since the war.
Oh, really?
And in one form or another. And it was rallied a lot. It was trialled a lot. I don't think it was ever raced.
Okay.
And in the 50s, there's a photograph of this car competing on a rally and a big roof rack on it. So somebody had welded those points on the top. That's not original.
No.
They're not aerials or something.
No, I thought so.
And somewhere we've got this massive metal roof rack. So if you want to go across the Sahara or something in it, we could put this huge roof rack on the top.
So you're going to do the Coupe de Alp, and then you'll need that on there for the spare tyres.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we got the car, it was in a bit of a mess, and we did a lot of work on it.
Right.
And Annabelle's re-upholstered it, and it had a couple of Citroen Diane seats in the front, and but the original seats as frames and fluff still existed.
Nice.
So we took all those apart, sorted them out. Annabelle taught herself how to do upholstery. We found the original material in Germany, and they're all now put together, and it looks quite nice.
It does. It looks superb.
Yeah, well, the original rev counter is part of the speedo, so you can see it's calibrated in RPM and speedometer. But the problem with that is I find I can't read it. It's just and the speedo flickers around and it's just not accurate. So this is a 1960s bodge. We didn't put it in there. Somebody in the 60s put that up there. So they actually had a more accurate rev counter that they could just glance and see, keeping all the dashboard working and original. So it's because the car's a working car. It's had all these. So the speedo is pretty rubbish. So I've got this little GPS speedo here, which jumps around a bit, but at least I know whether I'm within the law or not. But actually, I just know from the engine revs now anyway.
And the colours that I see on it are as BMW would have had the colours.
You
in
could
the
have had them
30s.
any colour you like.
Really?
They were all sorts of colours. As for Frazer Nash's, you get them red, yellow, any colour you wanted. The idea of pre-war cars all being sort of muted colours is actually because we only ever see original pictures of them in black and white.
Okay.
So the colours on this car were put. We understand it was sprayed these colours in the 1970s by the owner of it then.
Right.
And it's probably been through a number of iterations in its life because it's just constantly being used and abused.
Yeah.
And these colours were chosen because two-tone was quite popular.
Yeah.
And a good friend of ours, Mark Garfitz, has a very nice two-door sporting version of this car.
In those colours.
And he's very successful in competition. And in those colours, and we know a number of Frazer Nash BMWs now have copied those when the car's been due for a repaint.
Okay.
All BMWs pre-war were Frazer Nash BMWs.
Yeah.
They were imported by Frazer Nash. And you could either have the name as Frazer Nash BMW or Frazer Nash BMW.
What, badging wise?
Yes, badging wise.
Really?
Anti-Nazi sentiments.
Yeah, yeah.
The BMW struggles to import the cars into the UK pre-war because of the anti-Nazi sentiment. However, Frazer Nash, the days of the chain drive car were slowly coming to an end, and at an Alpine trial in 1934, a team of 3 BMWs took the crown away from the Frazer Nash team in this Alpine trial.
Okay.
1,000 miles round the mountains. And for the previous 2 years, the Frazer Nash Works team had won it outright and thrashed all the other manufacturers in their chain drive cars. Then the year came and 3 sports versions of this turned up, early version of this turned up, and they beat the Frazer Nashes. And so the managing director of Frazer Nash at the time said, I really like those, that's the future. And he did an import deal and said, well, we'll import them, we'll badge engineer it, and we'll sell, because we've got sporting customers that will love what you've got there. And increasingly during the 30s, Frazer Nash sold these, or sports versions of these mostly, and fewer chain drive cars.
Okay.
At the end of the war, Bristol got the rights to build. Bristol lost their contracts to build aeroplanes for the MOD, and they had a big contract to build loads of aeroplanes, and suddenly it was cancelled. As reparation, they were given the rights to go to take the BMW works and basically fill your boots with all their drawings and what they've got. So they started to put the BMW engine, that became the Bristol engine. That is one and the same thing.
Okay.
Into Bristol motor cars.
Right.
At the same time, Frazer Nash wanted the engine, and they started to put them in their post-war design cars, which was the first car that Sterling Moss won. He won his first Grand Prix in a post-war Frazer Nash, which had a gearbox and this engine.
Really?
In it. And this engine continued in the form of Bristol's others right into the 1960s.
Yeah.
So one form or another, this engine went from the early 1930s until the early 1960s with just different heads and being breathed on in different ways.
And how often do you compete in her?
Well, a few times a year.
Okay.
A few times
Mostly
a year.
VSCC?
Mostly VSCC, but also some post-war hero type events.
Yeah.
We drove her to Ireland last year and did the Shamrock Rally all around the south of Ireland.
Wow.
That was hardcore. We managed to destroy the back axle.
Okay.
So we've unfortunately finished that one in a hire car.
Okay.
But we use her and abuse her hard.
Yeah.
But she's good at it and she's lovely to drive.
Yeah.
So
great. Fascinating.
And this is our rally car.
Yeah. It's great. Thank you very much, Kevin. Have a great day.
And to you.
Thank you.